Dust swirled low across the streets of Dry Creek, a sunburned frontier town whose best days had passed with the last gold rush. What remained was heat, grit, and too many people clinging to too little hope. Clara Bell knelt in the smoldering ruins of what once was Freeman's General Store, her trembling fingers sifting through gray ashes for anything of value, mostly coin that hadn't melted, or canned goods spared by the flames. Her face, though streaked with soot and tears, still held a trace of stubborn beauty, the kind worn by years of hardship and heartbreak. Her calico dress was torn and her boots didn't match. Her once proud auburn hair had lost its shine beneath the grime. But what drew the attention of anyone passing was a quiet desperation in her eyes. She didn't speak. She just dug. "Put that down. I'll feed you." The voice came low and calm, but with an edge of steel. Clara turned slowly, her heart thumping. A shadow loomed behind her, tall, dust-covered, and clad in a duster coat stained with trail and time. The man's had shaded his face, but she could see the lines of weathered strength and the glint of something tired but kind in his eyes. "I don't need pity," she said hoarsely. "It ain't pity," he replied, squatting beside her. "It's lunch." He reached into his satchel and pulled out a wrapped biscuit and a chunk of salted pork. Without asking, he placed it on the scorched ground between them. Clara stayed, unsure whether to trust him or run. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice softer now. "Clara," she said finally. "Clara Bell." "Name's Luke Morgan." He stood slowly, then offered her his hand. "Come on. There's more where that came from." Chapter 2, A Place at the Table. Luke led her across town to a run-down saloon with peeling paint and broken shutters, the rusty spur inside. The air was cooler, thick with tobacco and regret. Men drank away their wages, but no one paid attention to Luke as he led Clara to a back table. Miss Delia, the saloon matron with a wide waist and a bigger heart, brought over a plate of beans and cornbread. Luke gave her a short nod, and she returned it silently, an unspoken agreement between two old souls. Clara ate like someone afraid the food would vanish mid-bite. "You from around here?" Luke asked. "Not anymore. I came back after the war. My family was gone, the farm sold off. I was working at Freeman's, before it burned." She didn't mention she had been sleeping behind the store shelves. He studied her, his sharp eyes picking up more than she realized. "And before the war?" She paused. "Married a soldier. He died at Shiloh. Been alone since." He nodded once, solemnly. "I fought too. Rode with the 7th out of Missouri. Been drifting ever since." "You an outlaw?" she asked bluntly. A faint smile touched his lips. "Not anymore. Not the kind that robs banks anyway." Clara didn't smile, but she didn't get up and leave either. Chapter 3, Trouble in the Shadows. Over the next few days, Clara stayed in a tiny room above the saloon. Luke gave her space but never let her go hungry. He didn't press her for stories, nor did she ask his. They spoke when needed and shared silence comfortably. Clara began helping Delia clean and serve in exchange for meals. Her dignity, once charred by hunger, slowly rekindled. But peace never lasted long in Dry Creek. Bo Mason, a former deputy turned drunkard, had taken a liking to Clara the moment he saw her wiping down tables. He was loud, lewd, and hated being ignored. One afternoon, he grabbed her wrist too hard. "You think you're too good to smile at me, sweetheart." Before Clara could twist away, Luke appeared behind Bo. "She ain't yours to touch." Bo turned with a sneer, but it melted at the look in Luke's eyes. "You got a problem. Morgan." Luke stepped closer. "I got one now." Bo backed down with a muttered curse, but everyone in the saloon knew he'd be back. Vengeance in Dry Creek never stayed buried. Later that night, Clara found Luke outside, sharpening a knife beneath the stars. "You didn't have to do that," she said quietly. "Yes, I did." She hesitated, then sat beside him. Why? He didn't look up, because when you find something worth protecting, you don't wait for it to vanish. Her breath caught, and for a long time they said nothing. Chapter 4. Smoke and Gunpowder. 3 nights later, Luke was gone before dawn. Clara found a note on her door. Gone riding north. Be back in 2 days. Stay close to Delia. But he didn't come back in 2 days. Or 3. On the 4th day, Bo returned, drunk and looking for blood. He barged into the saloon with 2 other men, guns loose at their sides. Where's your cowboy now? Bo snarled, grabbing Clara. Delia tried to intervene but was shoved hard. Clara spat in Bo's face and broke free, racing out the back. Shots rang out, one grazing her shoulder. She tumbled into an alley, clutching her wound. Thunder rumbled in the distance, or maybe it was hooves. Suddenly, gunfire erupted at the saloon's entrance. Luke rode in, rifle blazing, cutting through the storm of chaos. One of Bo's men went down instantly. Clara crawled to safety behind barrels as Luke dismounted and charged inside. The saloon erupted with violence, fists, bullets, and screams. When it was over, Bo lay unconscious, his face a swollen mess. Luke stood over him, breathing hard, blood on his sleeve but none of it his. He turned and saw Clara, eyes wide, shoulder bleeding. "You came back," she whispered. "Didn't I say I'd feed you?" he replied. Chapter 5. Redemption Road. Bo was run out of town by Delia and the townsfolk who had seen enough of his cruelty. Clara's wound healed slowly, but she didn't return to the ashes of her old life. She started baking, first for the saloon, then for a small cart Luke helped her build. Each morning, Luke would ride out before dawn, bringing back rabbits or wild herbs. And every evening, he returned to the porch of the little cottage they now shared on the edge of town. One night, under sky painted with stars, Luke stood with a bundle of wildflowers in his hand. "I don't have a ring," he said, awkwardly, "but I reckon I've been a fool long enough." Clara stayed, breath caught in her throat. "I ain't good with words, but I know I want to wake up every morning beside you. If you'll have me, that is." She took the flowers, fingers brushing his. "You once told me you protect what's worth keeping." "I did." "Well," she said, her smile slow and sure, "I'm not going anywhere." Chapter 6. Love After Ashes. Months passed, and Dry Creek began to bloom in small ways. New paint on buildings, laughter in the streets. Luke took up honest ranch work, and Clara's bakery wagon turned into a full-fledged shop. Their love was not loud or horrid, but strong in the way only hardship could make it. They still bore scars, physical and emotional, but those scars no longer defined them. Sometimes Clara would catch herself gazing at the ashes behind Freeman's old store, now just weeds and memory. That was where it had all begun, where man had seen her, not just a dote on her face, where hope had been offered with a biscuit and a single, life-changing sentence. And she would turn back to the bakery, where Luke waited with his hands dusted in flour, and remember, sometimes redemption comes not on horseback with a gun, but with a warm meal, a gentle word, and love that refuses to let go.